Yo. What's up, everybody? This is my, welcome loop video. And this is my favorite track on it. I don't know why. This one gets me pumped up. I feel like this would be my intro song. It's got some good drops. Maybe you can tell it here already, but I still have a nasally sound. Ugh. It's been like a week. This is the worst feeling for a broadcaster. To feel like there's a clothespin on your nose. There's actually not. Good news is I've been feeling great. Bad news is sounding like crap. It was my reward from going on vacation. What's going on at MSU? What is going on at East Lansing? I have not been up to speed on the events of tonight. Oh man, I just looked it up. Oh. Yikes. I think we can do phone calls tonight. I'm not currently set up for that yet, but we can be. Doesn't take long to do that. I actually have kind of a new toy here in the home studio, which I will debut. It's the night before Valentine's Day. My wife and I did our early date since tomorrow I'll be working. Nothing like hanging out with Curtis Brown on Valentine's Day, huh? At least they pay me for that. Do I think the Nashville Stars will actually become a thing? I think it's lined up to be a thing. I think it necessitates Oakland and Tampa getting their new stadiums. And then I think the Nashville Stars are a thing. Oh, hello! Welcome to the broadcast. And welcome to the fact that, watch this. Look, Ma, no hands. Oh, wait, how am I doing that? What if I want to go up there? Oh! I got a Stream Deck pedal. So now I can even answer a question like this. Hey, Brody, are you over your allergies? I'm not, they might be allergies. They might actually be. Or it might be just a tinge of congestion of something else. Not COVID. I tested. Just wanted to make sure. But yeah, I've been feeling fine. Like working out, doing everything physically, just sounding really, really bad. And so yes, that's what I'm debuting tonight is the No Hands episode of the live stream. Oh, do you want to take that off? Boom. Put it back on? Boom. Go back up there? Boom. Problem is I can only do 3 things as of right now. I only set it up that way. But I'll eventually get to more. So Ryan, thanks for checking in, bud. I appreciate that. It's a good question here. How about JC34? Devils, Hurricanes, or a sleeper team for Timo Meier? I'll leave the music in for a bit, then I'll fade it away. I feel like the Devils are just going in on Timo. At least their fans are, the media is. Like, New Jersey really would love to have young Timothy Meier. But I think there's some other potential suitors out there. I saw the Canes. Did I see Toronto too, or was that more linked to no? That was Edmonton and EK65. Sorry, I'm getting lost in all of the media cycle here. What's Curtis Brown like off camera? Gary, is that you? The NHL's commissioner is here on the live stream. Imagine if I believed everything like some people do out there. Oh, it's on a screen. It must be true. It's got to be Uncle Gary. Well, Mr. Bettman, you know as well as I do, he's not a lot different in real life. And that's not a compliment. See how I played the bass drop right there? At some point, I'm going to have to let go of the music. Just not yet. This is a good question. What would my reaction be if Timo ends up with Vegas? I feel like if you're Mike Greer, your best opportunity is to not only move the player, get some value back, but to make sure they don't end up long-term in your own division. You got to send him out to the Metro. You got to send him out east. It would be a mistake to trade Meyer. I've heard some people say out there, Brody, you're talking too much Timo trade stuff. You want to keep him. And yeah, of course I want to keep him. But I don't know that it is realistic under the salary cap, current situation, direction of the team, what they could get in return. Maximize his value right now. 40-goal season. This is the time to move on that. And look, I love Timo. I don't want to ship him off. Really, on a professional or a personal level, I don't want to ship off Timo Meyer. But I think you also have to realize the situation at hand, the opportunity at hand. You're not going to get it playing out much better than this. So, Felix, we can talk about that one. You really, is that a South Park reference? You want me to say that? You want me to elaborate on fish sticks? Fish sticks? I feel like, that deserves a few sound effects here. Do I have them? Do I have the... I thought I did. My gosh, my sound effects are all out of place here. Yeah, there we go. Do I like fish sticks? Hey-o! All right. Any hope for Howard Terminal? I did a video, in fact, it came out today, on the differences between what the Rays are going through and what Oakland's going through. And yes, of course, in Tampa, could the process move quickly? And could the Rays end up with a shovel in the ground before the A's do? I suppose, but they are way behind. And they have a lot less limitations than the A's do. When you think about it, like the Rays, you could stay in St. Pete. You could move to Tampa. You got to do whatever you want, so long as you stay away from Miami, and that's not exactly right around the corner. The A's are kind of limited to certain geography and dealing with their own city, which, let's be honest, has a lot of other issues, and they are a priority, some of the things that Oakland has on the table already. But they also have a really good opportunity here, and I hope that they do not pass it by because they're caught up on some other prior deals that the Raiders sent them or the Warriors left town with. Granted, this thing, it's close. It still has a major hurdle to overcome. The development agreement and infrastructure financing. I'm not trying to, cheerlead you right now and say everything's going to be great. I don't know that everything is going to be great and fine. Wish I could say that. I don't know that my confidence meter right now is at an all-time high. It's definitely been higher. But at the same respect, so much progress has happened here. These two sides, the city and the team, not to mention the county and other, government agencies and entities that have to say yes. We've all come so far in this that it would be a huge shame, a huge black eye to everybody involved if this cannot be finalized. And I'm saying I understand if it's going to take some time, if there's some final complications. I understand if it's not easy. I totally get that. But that's like being on what's a marathon? 26.2? It's like being on mile 25 of the marathon and just being like, nah, you know what? That's it. I'm good. You've got one more mile. It might be the hardest mile. It might be your most fatiguing mile. You're really sore. You've had it up to here. But you've trained for this. You can do it. That's kind of where we're at with this. Favorite prospects in the A's system currently? I should do a video on that, Kyle. I feel like if I started spouting off some of the names that are on the top of my head right now, it's not fair because I have not seen all of them play. I don't know how to rank them necessarily. So I'll tell you what, after I get down there at spring training for a little bit, talk to some people, see some things, I'll come back with that video. I'll come back with a video on the A's players of the future, ones you have not seen yet that I'm most excited about. I'll tell you what I did do, though. I did a video on JJ Bleday. Should I? Let me see if I can do this here real quick. Give me 1 second. I think I now have the ability to pull. But I may not. Oh, no, but I think I did. Yeah, no, I didn't put that one on here yet. Yep, I don't have the Bleday video yet. But I can play, for example, like a preview on like Trevor May. Here comes the Trevor May video.
Here's Brody Brazil.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this series profiling 2023 Oakland A's players.
There I am. Look
at
at
that.
that.
We just dive into a newcomer, Trevor May. I've got a sneaking suspicion we're all really going to like Trevor May. The more we see him, the more we get to know him as a person and as a ball player. Did you see his introductory press conference, by the way? Talk about winning over A's fans. My goodness,
You're
he's
so
excited
cheesy,
to be
Brazil.
here. He
Okay.
loves Northern California. Okay, all right, enough of that. Anyway, so I've got that new feature. I can play back videos now, stuff I've already done. Thoughts on Kansas City? Whoa, wait. Got to get my foot pedal ready. Bang. Thoughts on Kansas City winning the Super Bowl? I went into that whole game, couldn't care less. No disrespect. I really think I like Patrick Mahomes. I don't know that I dislike Andy Reid at all. I don't know that I like or dislike any of the Kansas City players. I don't know. And I don't feel anything towards Philadelphia. Honestly, no hard feelings that they beat the 49ers and whatever. It's just, I don't know. I just had no rooting interest in that. I still haven't seen the halftime show, by the way. I also didn't watch any. I watched like 5 minutes of it yesterday. I was busy. Came back from a hockey game. It was so nice outside. I know. Everybody's like, wait, don't you work in this business? Yeah, but I don't live it 24/7. So I'll go back and watch like later tonight before I go to bed. I'll watch the halftime show. I'll watch some of the best commercials. I know how the game ended. I saw the controversial holding call. Did everybody think that was holding? I felt like I explained it to somebody today, like in hockey where, it appears like it's slashing because the stick is horizontal and the blade of the stick is on the mitt, but it's just touching it, you can't do that. You cannot grab like he did, side of the jersey, kind of hip area. You can't even almost put your hand there, whether you're grabbing or actually holding or not. Because it's too hard to tell. The official can't really get a grasp, literally, of the grasp. So I don't know that it's not fair. It's not fun. I know a penalty should not affect a game like that ends by a 3-point margin. For a penalty in the final 2 minutes. Seems like a couple Super Bowls recently have had that. So, unfortunate. But I think I also saw that Philadelphia at 35 points. Philadelphia scored the most points in Super Bowl history to lose the game. 35 is the highest score for a losing team ever. Eagles did lose a 10-point lead, and blaming it on a single call is a bit much. Ken, you nailed it right there. That's it. Felix, I didn't watch the halftime show because it wasn't Taylor Swift. Also, I don't know if she ever explained it, but I wonder how Rihanna was selected. I wonder how that came to be, the opportunity. Does she have a new album? Has she been making a lot of newer music lately. I don't know. I will say that in the 2010s, there was a lot of Rihanna bangers out there. Like, she was on other people's songs. She had her own songs. So she's definitely, she's at that level to do something like that. But I don't know if currently, if she'd been, like in the limelight, maybe, I don't know. How do you get invited to do that? Are you kind of like a legacy artist? Are you a popular now artist? I feel like you have to have like a decade worth of, of music making to even get the invite, quite honestly. Greg, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, it just came out today, the comparison between Tampa and Oakland. And you're right, it's not easy for either area. I think it's easier for Tampa, though, I've got to say. Honestly, the two things, and Montreal was also an option, but baseball said enough with the whole Montreal thing, you're not splitting your season. So they crossed that one off the map. So, I mean, really for Tampa, are you going to be able to build at the Ybor Harbor site close to Tampa, or are you going to build at the Tropicana site in St. Pete? And if that were the case for the A's, it's like, well, are you going to build in Fremont, hypothetically, or are you going to build in Oakland? But the bottom line is they're going to stay either way. The big threat, to the A's is that it's elsewhere. And if Las Vegas ultimately doesn't come through and there's nothing that pans out, no specifics we've heard of yet, then maybe Portland enters the conversation. Maybe Charlotte enters the conversation. So relocation seems a lot more real for A's fans than it does for Tampa at this point. Although Tampa, directly talked about Montreal, that seems to have been wiped off the map. Felix saying that, fun fact, We Found Love by Rihanna featuring Calvin Harris was big. Oh, when you were in high school. I think I was many years out of college. I think I was at least a decade out of college by then. Where have you been? Right? Should I do auto-tune for that? That needs auto-tune. It needs something. It needs a lot of something. Oh, that sounds bad. Does this sound any better? Where have you been? Don't tune out. No, you know what? Don't tune out of the live stream because I did that. I'm sorry. Imagine if the Stanley Cup final was decided on an offside review. Yeah, there is that, right? There is the fact that the Eagles gave up that lead they had at halftime, kind of let Kansas City back into the game. But there is the fact that when it came down to the end, one call made a huge difference. I should add the Undertaker gong sound to my soundboard. There's a very short list of people that can pull off a Super Bowl halftime. That's a fair statement. Again, I think you need to have 10 years of recording artist experience. You need to have a certain amount of records. Obviously, you need to have a collection of hits. You can't go up there on stage and be like, well, I've got 3 bangers and that's it. I'm going to play them all, and then I'll revisit all 3 of them. Can't do that. I'll cover some other songs. You just can't do that. Still a good game. And you know what, Matthew? That's a good point, too. I understand it came down to a final call that had a lot of people talking, but you know what? The league loves that. The league loves people talking about the game and the results. And it really was a good game. Back and forth, more than 70 points total scored. How can you be disappointed at that? Juju! Brody, finally caught you when you're live. It's been a while. Oakland's rotation is easily the most exciting. Questions going into March? What do you think? I found it interesting that Oakland made those moves sending away Cole Irvin and AJ Puck. 2 pitchers that, obviously Irvin was a mainstay in the rotation. He made 30 starts last year and 30-plus starts the year before. Cole Irvin was dependable. You could count on him. And I think that the idea, and we talked to David Force back in December, the idea was that AJ Puck was going to transition back from the bullpen into the starting rotation. But I'm just looking at their moves, they must feel like they're pretty set with the rotation. Hopefully Caprillian's shoulder is going to be good. You've got Paul Blackburn coming off that middle finger issue, or the finger on his throwing hand issue. You've got Waldachuk. You've got Sears. So let's see how that rotation plays out. I talked to Stephen Vogt the other day, and he's not trying to butter up the team. He doesn't need to pump their tires. But I said, what do you see in them? Like, you're removed. You're now an opponent. You're part of the Mariners coaching staff. But what do you see for the Oakland A's with what you know about them? And he said, look, they're already instantly better than they were last year. Some of the free agent acquisitions, time, experience, comfort factor. But the big thing he wanted to point out was he thought that the arms would be better this year. And Sears and Waldachuk, big part of that. Hopefully Acevedo can take some next steps in the bullpen. You've got Danny Jimenez, closer material out there. So, yeah, I don't know how much better the Oakland A's are going to be. They will be better. To what degree? I guess that's what we're going to find out. But a big part of them being better, I agree, I think is also the pitching staff. I think there's the pitching staff and the rotation. I think the arms for Oakland are going to be what puts them back on a better trajectory starting this season. See what else we got here. And Juju, by the way, thank you so much for being part of the Super Chat. I really appreciate that. It helps out the channel greatly. And I'm always trying to grow and improve this channel, and stuff like that absolutely does it. Kings or Warriors? Okay, you called me out, Oakland A's fan. Kings or Warriors? Now, I hope a lot of you know with me. I grew up on Run TMC, and I could still name you pretty much the entire 1992 Golden State Warriors team roster. Not just the starting five, but all the players from back in the day, from Chris Gatling to Alton Lister to Sharunas Marshallonis. That was a big part of my interest growing up, was basketball and the Warriors back in the day. And they were never like a top team like they are now. They didn't have a Steph Curry or a Klay Thompson or a Draymond, but they were respectable. They were dangerous. That quick couple years of Run TMC, Billy Owens, I'll throw in that name too. But, I grew up on the Warriors. That being said, I never had it in for the Sacramento Kings, like geographically or competitively. I never hated the Kings like a lot of people do in a geographical rivalry. And it's like A's and Giants fans have it, a certain disconnect there, right? Dodgers and Angels fans, Mets and Yankees, Cubs and White Sox. I know I skipped over to baseball. I would imagine it's like that for Lakers and Clippers fans. I never really had angst for the Sacramento Kings. And you know what? When they were really good and doing their things, early 2000s, and the Warriors weren't, I was happy for Sacramento. I love Sacramento, kind of as a market, as a different market, as the one that is really overshadowed by the Bay Area, also overshadowed by Los Angeles in our state. It's not the number one most, populous or popular area in California that people think about, Sacramento. But I love seeing them get excited about their team and having their team and the fact that they got to keep their team. I have a soft spot for that, right? Experiencing what the Oakland A's are going through, knowing the journey that they had all those years trying to get a new building, and when Kevin Johnson was mayor of Sacramento, and there was the old ownership group, but the new ownership group got it done, and the Maloofs were looking to move them to every corner of the continent, maybe. And it didn't happen. It felt like at one point they were out the door. I remember saying the terms irreconcilable differences on television about the Kings and Sacramento and the fact that they were going to move out of Arco and be done. In fact, I went to what I thought was one of the last few games at Arco. Like, well, this is my last chance to see the Kings ever play. Glad it wasn't. And now think of the turn of events. You got a De'Aaron Fox. You got a Mike Brown as head coach. You got a cast of exciting players. You're only building. Now they're buying at the trade deadline. They've got the building which has been established. Unfortunately, they couldn't break it in like first 2 seasons with all this playoff run and talk and conversation, but they're here now. That's fine. You don't get to time it out perfectly every single time, but they're here now. They've got everything they need now. And now they're lighting the beam. I mean, I love that. Every team across professional sports should look in the mirror and say, why didn't we do that? I mean, let's just change over sports. Let's go to a different market. You know I love the Sharks. You know I've followed them since forever, the beginning of their existence, and I've worked with them now for 14 seasons. What if there was a big teal beam? Now, I don't know that you can do this in San Jose because the final approach course of the airport is like right over SAP Center. But in Sacramento at Golden 1, they can do this. It's a little bit, further removed. There's no dangers of lighting up a giant purple beam from the top of your ceiling, your roof. Imagine how cool that would be in downtown San Jose. There's a big teal beam coming off the top of the tank. Now, at the same respect, excuse me, if you do that now, you're copying the Kings. They invented this. Has anybody else done the beam? Like they're doing it, how they're doing it, the way they're doing it, like literally push the button? That's not a real button, come on. But every win, even the road wins now. And when the team flies back into Sacramento, they land at the airport, and from a distance, they can see the big purple beam because they won earlier that night. That is so cool. So anyway, I know that's fan stuff. I know the beam, but that's what we're here to talk about. So in all reality, I'll always love the Warriors. That was my team. And to enjoy the days still of like, I can't believe the Warriors won a title in my life. They won a few titles in my life. Because back when I first found out about basketball and came into it, and quite honestly, the entire decade of like the 2010s, really even the 2000s. I mean, besides the We Believe year, what else was there? Eric Dampier, Bob Sura, Mookie Blaylock on the team. Yeah. How many head coaches did we go through during those years? It was bad for a long time. So it now makes people like me totally appreciate where they're at now because of where they were before. Getting a little coffee here. And I don't mean like drink coffee. Like I'm starting to cough. Oh, the beam stays lit all night. I mean, come on. Come on. They are doing it. They're doing it right. This is Sacramento's time. Also let's not forget, Sacramento right now has the longest active playoff drought across professional sports. 16 years since they were in a postseason. The Seattle Mariners this past October ended their 21-year playoff drought. They were number 1. Kings were number 2. Now Kings are number 1. I would love to see them not be number 1 anymore. Get to the playoffs. How do I feel about the state of the Pittsburgh Pirates and how they're similar to the A's? I mean, Cincinnati Reds, there's a fair amount of teams that operate the same way. And by that, I mean, don't spend a lot. But have the Pirates surged like the A's did? Did the Pirates win 97 games 2 years, almost basically 3 years if you count the ratio of 2020. 97 wins for 3 straight years. So I don't know. Can you compare how you operate versus the actual results you get? I'll say this. I know people don't favor how the A's do it, and they have so much turnover, and things are always changing, and the names on the back. How long can you count on them for? I get it. The problem with all of it is that they find a way literally every single time. So would you be surprised if by 2025 this team is talking about a playoff push? Right? It's literally like that every single time. I will not be surprised. I won't be. It was, 2012, 13, 14 in the playoffs. 15, 16, 17, outside looking in. But at the end of 17, you call up Chapman, you call up Olsen. You have your team coming together. Oh, 2018, 97 wins. 2019, 97 wins. 2020, the equivalent of 97 wins. 2021, things were on track, and they had one of their best deadlines ever. Harrison, Marte, Chafin, Jan Gomes, and things just unraveled. Things just unraveled that season. The Bassett injury was part of it. But again, it's just amazing how, they were in 15 and 16, they were in the dumps. Next thing you know, they regenerate. So it takes 2 or 3 years. We're 1.5 years into it, basically. Alex, you like the practical reviews? You just bought your own Weller soldering station. Oh, thank you. So I sold you a Weller soldering station. We got to tell Weller about that. Make sure that they know. I would love to get some more Weller soldering station products. Very cool. Thank you for mentioning that. I've kind of gotten away from anything outside of sports here on the channel. Really tried to narrow it in. I'm going to do sports on this channel. I'm going to do production stuff on Home Studio Pro, and I'll do aviation stuff on my aviation channel. So, see what else we got here. Oh, MM Forever. Cover the 49ers if the A's leave. Please, please. I appreciate you being in the super chat, and I appreciate that sentiment. And let me just say this, it has even been discussed at my workplace. What would I do? Now, we don't know the answers, and we don't want to speculate, and we don't want to go too far down this road because we don't know anything, but it has been discussed, at least with me and my immediate superior. What would I do? What would we do with me if the A's were to depart? I don't know what it means for our network or me, so that's why, again, it's not even worth me elaborating here because there's not much to it. But some alternatives have been discussed out there. So I appreciate you saying that, and hopefully something would work out at the very worst case scenario. Okay. I feel like we, look, I did that with no hands. See what I did there? I can go boom, 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 boom. Can you hear the pedal? Watch. I'll do it really loud. That's really loud, but I can also just kind of tap it quietly there. I think we can do some phone calls. I don't think there's a problem with that. So let's put the number on the screen. There it is. 510-343-3640. The phone lines are open. Voicemails are always open. Oh, you know what else? I meant to turn off. Last time I got a bunch of call waitings while I was actually doing calls. Somebody's already calling. I love that. Call forwarding, custom. How can I turn off call waiting? Well, let's just answer this one here first. Good evening from the 209. Who's this?
Yo, Brody, it's Jacob.
Jacob, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, it's been a while, huh?
Stockton, Modesto? I can't remember.
Oh my gosh, you remember that because 209.
Well, no, I saw your phone number. So wait, which, where are you at?
I'm from Modesto.
Modesto. So,
good old Modesto.
What's on your mind tonight? What's going on? What's brewing? You were quick on the draw, by the way. I just opened up the phone lines, and you were right in there. So credit to you.
Right. Yeah, that's what we do over here. We keep it real, and just. But yeah, just hanging out. But I don't know, just catch up, and it's
all right.
Yeah.
You just wanted to be first as a caller, right? I can tell. You didn't really you were like, you know what? I'm just going to call, which I appreciate.
Right.
You didn't do all your homework on this one, but you just wanted to check in.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. All right. Anything exciting for you this week?
Let's see. Yeah, I know it's just Monday, but
Yeah.
yeah, just yesterday Super Bowl and all that, and but yeah, just mostly hanging out. Football's over. Still watching. Yeah.
Does that instantly mean when football's over? What does that mean to you? Something else begins, or what? How do you interpret that?
Oh, that football's over, so looking forward to baseball now.
There you go. I feel like I was kind of leading you into that a little bit, but
right. So I'm excited for I mean, I'm not too thrilled, but just excited to see the green and gold again, and
yeah.
New faces. I mean, it's kind of sad we traded AJ Puck, but
Well, I mean, look, I don't know that things were working out tremendously for him. He was a first-round pick. It's kind of the same story with J.J. Bleday, who they traded for with Miami. He didn't really have, the career so far that he would have liked. So it's interesting that the A's and Marlins kind of swapped players with hopes that change of scenery might do each one of them well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Lazardo and. But it's just too bad that, they were so young and, they could have, that's the thing. I mean, I could understand that they were in their 30s.
Yep.
Bassett, I mean, the last time I checked, Bassett's 29?
I think Chris Bassett's in his early 30s. That's a great question. It's hard to actually know. He was around for so long. He had so many injuries. I don't know the exact age.
Right.
But I think what you're pointing out though is how I immediately felt too. It's the end of the Puck and Lazardo era that really never was, right? There was so much hype and so much build up for those two specifically. Lazardo was the first to go, and now ironically they're rejoined in Miami. But I think that's probably the biggest downer of it all is that neither one of them really got to do their thing with the A's. So.
Right.
All right. Well, hey, man, I appreciate the call. I'm getting a bunch of call waitings here, so I'm going to try and shuffle through a bunch of phone calls tonight, but you're the first. So.
Oh, that's right. First, and just, shout out to you and shout out to, the green and gold. And,
all right.
But take care and hopefully you feel better soon.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for saying that. I feel fine. I just sound like crap. I literally sound like somebody's holding my nose the entire time. So, but wow. It's getting better. It's so much better than it was even 3 days ago. But it's the fact that it's lasted a week is enough. It's like a broadcaster's worst nightmare. Two things: a congested voice and acne. Broadcaster's worst nightmare.
And it wasn't COVID at all?
Wasn't COVID enough? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, it's just, because I had the same symptoms weeks ago, and it was actually positive.
Oh, really? I tested early on, and fortunately it wasn't that, but it's almost like I've seen people with lesser symptoms that have COVID than this, So it's mostly just how it sounds versus how I feel or look or anything else. So anyway. Appreciate it, man. You have a good night. You be safe, and I'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right. All right. I'm sorry, too, because while I'm on the calls, I know caller ID or call waiting is happening, and it's beep, beep. I don't know how to turn that off here, so I'll have to work on that. But the phone lines are once again open, so now is your time. Now is your turn if you want to jump in here on the voice chat. There we go, from the 408. I guess I can turn it off like a do not disturb thing. Good evening from the 408. Who's this?
Oh, shoot. Wait, Brody?
That's it. Yeah, I don't have a call screener. You literally just dial me,
Yeah, what's it called? I actually didn't expect to get on.
Oh,
I actually didn't expect to get on.
Who is this?
This is Juju.
Juju, what's going on? And it sounds like you just shut the door. Like things just got serious.
Oh no, what's it called? I live with like 10 plus people, so
No, you need
it's kind
some,
of hard to get privacy.
You need some privacy, yeah. 10 plus people, huh?
Yeah.
How do you get
Two
sleep
stories.
at night?
I try my best.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's not easy. Or like the proper time to shower, you know, you probably have to wait for the shower then, I would imagine, quite a bit.
I mean, you know, being a student at SJ, you know, when you start at 9 a.m., most people aren't really up yet. Plus, most of us are adults, so
Yeah.
it's convenient.
You're a student at San Jose State?
Yep.
Oh, nice. How far along are you?
I actually just transferred out from community college.
Okay.
So it's my first year here.
Were you going to
first year there?
Were you going to like De Anza or something before?
I was going to Mission.
Oh, okay, Mission. Cool. All right. So what program are you in, or do you have a major yet?
Oh, I'm a psych major actually.
Nice. You want to break me down here? Do you want to do a little psych session with me?
It's
No.
been a long day.
You'd have to charge.
Oh.
You'd have to charge. I understand.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's going on?
but yeah.
What prompted you to call in? You just saw the number, or you got something? What's going on?
Yeah, I just decided to call in.
All right.
I mean, it's kind of crazy just, you know, keeping up with your content over the last like 2 or 3 years. You know, I essentially started when the city decided to accept their own or agree on their own term sheet. So
Oh, the A's stuff.
then-
Okay, yeah.
yeah, sorry, I don't want
No,
to.
you're good.
I don't want to keep going into A stuff. It's like, yeah, it's just very interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just how meticulous it is in like the city. It's just, or in the city of Oakland especially. It's just like wow.
Yeah. It's
Oakland-
a saga. I mean, it is a true saga, right? You have so many storylines, you have so many twists and turns. It's been going on for, I mean, honestly, the A's talked about a new stadium in the mid-2000s. We're in 2023, you know? Now, we are closer than ever, and they have identified, like, literally a perfect spot. Howard Terminal, so much better than anything in Fremont. I'll argue that it's better than even the Peralta site in Oakland. It would be perfect in so many ways. So we have arrived at a really good opportunity, but man, it's taken so long. So totally understand what you're saying.
It's very, yeah. I mean, you know, I think if there's anything, it's like the harsh reality is that we kind of have to deal with, you know, I know people have like a really bad opinion, or I know like the opinion of ownership's kind of in the dumps right now, but
Sure.
It's just, if people keep saying sell the team, it ain't gonna change, y'all. They're gonna be the ones that get this deal done.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to apologize to them, but I mean, they got it done. Like that's the hope at the end of the day.
You know what I feel like, and it's not to make light of a situation like this where kids live in existence with their parents maybe arguing or it's a difficult relationship, but it kind of feels like all the fans are the kids, you know, and the two parents are up here trying to work something out and the kids are just seeing this like, guys, come on, you know, we look up to you. We need this to happen. Can you make this happen? Or can you stop with the back and forth and just agree and get together, you know? So I don't know if that's kind of a really harsh and blunt parallel, maybe even inappropriate, but it kind of feels like a lot of people feel stuck in the middle of another relationship that's all business that they can't even have an impact on, but they're kind of stuck in the middle of it. So I get it.
I just feel like the lack of transparency from the A's side has just been really, like, the silence is really deafening now. Like, I still remember when Cavill was somewhat vocal at the beginning of last season, and it was like, that's because there was nothing going on. Like, his silence now could be interpreted in, like, thousands of different ways.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. I'm just taking it that, oh, they better be working through a deal, because I know it's like they technically have a deadline now, according to Manfred.
It's true.
But then it's like but then it was, I think it's May, right? That the exclusive negotiating period is
with the
expiring?
with the Port of Oakland, that's correct. Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, oh, they could pretty much like just discuss anywhere or they could bring in other projects, right? Or other people could propose.
The Port of Oakland could. I do have to tell you that the Port of Oakland is very motivated to also have this project be done. So I don't want to mislead people and say, yeah, that's a big deal. Like that could jeopardize everything. Like it could, but the Port of Oakland could also say, you know what? We see where you're at. We see you're not entirely done with this. We'll extend you one more year. We'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It's not out of reach entirely. Granted, something is expiring, right? The exclusive negotiating agreement. It is expiring. It doesn't mean that it couldn't be extended or renewed or, some variation of that. So I don't want to mislead people and make them think that, that's a moment that will make everything else go away. Not necessarily the case, but we just don't know yet. There's also this in January of 2024, revenue sharing for the A's drastically changes if they don't have a new stadium figured out. So there are some hard deadlines coming up. To your point, about the silence, I'll just say this. That's kind of the harsh reality of the business part.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know it's not optimal. Like, I know it's not like of course, we all want latest information. We'd all want to be in the room where it happens, right? Wouldn't we, if that were a TV show, wouldn't we watch the negotiations? Of course. But
be the most engaging TV to us.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that, you get into a negotiation, you get this deep, and then you're looking at it saying, why would I talk right now? I don't have to. Legally, I'm not obligated to. It may only go against us and what we're trying to do here. Granted, I get it. I'd love to hear more stuff too. Just like you, just like everybody else. But I'm also here to say that's not the part that bugs me, maybe about the process, is the silence. You would probably come to expect it at this juncture. If they really are this close and there's really only a couple things left, that's fine. I can deal with that. But I also understand how most people feel. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like my point is, it's like at the beginning of 2022, when he was just being, when Cavill was being vocal, especially with the seagull, if you remember that.
Oh, the seagull on Twitter. I was thinking like an actual bird. I mean, I think I'll say this too. It is really hard to put yourself out there under these circumstances. It really is. And maybe it was just doing too much of it before. Maybe ultimately that was looked at in reverse and said, okay, let's narrow this down. I don't know. I don't want to speak for anybody, but but I know what you're saying. There was a lot of front-facing opportunity, and now there's not. So what do we read into it? I don't know. I really don't know.
It's all yeah.
So, I get it.
Oh, actually, yeah, like 100%.
Go ahead. You had something else? You had something else?
Oh no, I mean, I just didn't want to hold you up so other people could get on.
All right.
But it's like,
I appreciate that.
Fuji Otani opening night.
Oh man, wouldn't that be an epic battle? Yeah, Shohei's got to be pitching for them, right? Game 1.
Yeah. Fuji, yeah, and then Shohei.
And for the A's, would they line up Fuji first in the number 1 spot? No pressure, right? I mean, I'll be honest. I thought Cole Irvin was probably going into the season with the way the roster was. I thought Cole Irvin might be number 1. So who is number 1 right now? Is it Paul Blackburn? Probably.
I mean, yeah, I'd say consider. I mean, the de facto right now is definitely Blackburn. There's no question about it. Like, I don't want to say de facto because I think he's like a really good pitcher, but it's just like no one's. It's just really hard to define the ace of our rotation. That's just the question. That's the tough part.
Waldachuk and Sears have a lot of upside and promise and potential, and they might have really good seasons. As of opening night, I should say, I don't know. I don't know who's tabbed. But no, to your point, like that would be fun, right? The all Japanese pitching matchup. That'd be pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you're doing there. I'll I'll have to propose that to Mark Kotze. Like, he'll really listen to my to my idea. Hey, Mark, I was doing a YouTube show the other day. A caller had this idea. Let me know what you think about it. So it'd be interesting.
Hey,
It would be interesting for sure.
You should mention the idea to smoke too when you see him again.
I don't talk to that guy. Come on, I don't know. Actually, I just texted with him the other day. I can't wait to see him. I will be seeing him next week down in Arizona. He actually texted me and said, I heard we're recording a promo together next week, and I didn't know about it. So like, I responded with, gee, let me guess, you're bagging on me again, huh? So we'll see how that one goes. Duo, man. Oh, I love Stu, man. He is awesome, and our whole team's awesome. I've been doing this for years with Shooty and Bip, and it's a lot of games. It's a lot of seeing them all summer long, and I don't honestly get tired of it. So I think that probably speaks volumes. You know, you spend that much time around somebody and you don't get tired of them. So
yeah, anyway. I definitely relate to that.
All right, well, hey, I appreciate the call, and I'm going to try and get through a couple more here before like 10 o'clock, and then hit the bed, man. But I appreciate you calling in.
Of course, man. I appreciate you answering.
Absolutely. And good luck with San Jose State, man. You know only the best get their degrees out there, so.
Of course.
I was like, you're only like 20 years behind me, but that's cool. It's cool.
Hey, man, I always respect the fellow SJSU.
There you go. Spartan. All right, man. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right. Let's go straight to the 925. Who's this?
Right field, Will, Brody, Brazil.
Oh, my gosh. We got to turn up your bass. Hang on a second, Will. Let me get a nice Brody, Brazil. There we go.
Brody, Brazil, how you doing, my man?
Are you not at work yet? Are you going into work? Aren't you on the night shift all the time?
I mean, no, I'm on the morning shift right now, buddy, so
really?
It's not so bad.
So you got to get to bed. So you got to get a full night's sleep in here.
I don't know how to do that, my man. I can't do that very well.
What do you clock in? Like 4 hours a night? Honestly, how do you do it?
Sleep-wise, I usually get about 5, maybe 6. But then during baseball season, not so much. I'm usually so amped up after the games. Same with hockey, so it's all good.
You have a hard time falling asleep after a game?
Oh, absolutely. I'm usually so amped up after a game, or I'm probably had too many beers too. So that maybe probably plays a part of it.
You know, I'm gonna share something with you. Back in the day, when I was doing the high school sports show on Friday nights, we were live from 11 till midnight, and so a lot of times I would get home. You know, there was no rush to get out of there. We would all hang out, talk about the show. Sometimes we'd even go out to Denny's, like at 12:45 in the morning. So I would get to bed at or I would be home maybe like 1:30, whatever, hypothetically. But some nights I wouldn't go to bed till 3. Like, I was wired. I mean, I was on TV. It was all new to me. The adrenaline was pumping. That was me at like 20 years old. No, I guess I was probably, it was probably 22, something like that. Anyway, early 20s. Nowadays, we could have an extra inning or overtime shootout situation, whatever, most exciting game possible. We do the post-game show. I'll drive home. I can be asleep in 15 minutes.
I wish I could do that, man. I wish I could do that, honestly. I'm almost 40, and I still can't do it. I get so amped up to go to a game, see a game, anything else. It takes me a long time to wind down.
So because you said almost 40, I've got to know 2 things. Are we sitting on 39 right now?
I am, sitting on 39.
And when is the magic day? Will you reveal that to us right here, right now?
Absolutely. Christmas Eve.
Are you serious? So you just turned 39?
So I just turned 39 about 2 months ago, basically.
Damn, we can't. That's going to be really hard to pull off a 40th birthday party for you on your birthday.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I have to do the whole family gathering stuff and everything else.
Right. I don't know if I can do that with he'll be, I guess, 6.5 by then, but we'll have to find a belated way. We'll have to tribute you somehow. The ultimate A's and Sharks fan. We got to do something for right field, Will.
Oh, too kind, buddy. I mean, there's better A's fans and better Sharks fans and CUDA fans than me, honestly. I know there is.
There are,
but I appreciate it.
You're right. There are better, but there's not the combination like you.
Oh,
I'm just
well
kidding.
played.
I'm just
well,
kidding.
Plissy.
Oh, just
hey,
kidding.
for all the jabs I throw at you, I deserve that one. Honestly,
come on. You know I'm kidding. That's ridiculous. No, we gotta.
I know.
I feel like, and sometimes even in a hockey sense, I'm like, oh, that's right field will, but like that's not a hockey term. All hockey fans like right field. What? Who is this guy? So we gotta have we gotta have a hockey alter ego for you, like a inboards will or like penalty box will. Like what do you think?
Oh, usually for Shark games, usually second deck will. I can't afford the good seat.
Second deck will. Well played. Well, see, this is like a wait. I've got the bump here somewhere. I've got it. I know. There it is. See? Oh, you probably couldn't hear that. Never mind.
I couldn't hear it, unfortunately, but it's all good. I'll watch the replay later. It's all good.
It's not routed in properly on the phone call. I apologize. So, hey, man, like, what prompted you to call in? You just wanted to say hi?
I just want to say I saw you were live on YouTube. I was like, all right, cool. I'll talk in the chat. And then I saw the phone number was up. I was like, I've got to talk to Brody Brazil and say thank you for the Stephen Vogt interview. That was really awesome.
I thank you for watching it. Yeah, I had the full thing published over the weekend. I wanted to break it up into a couple spots, stuff I knew people would want to watch in smaller pieces, but then I put the whole thing up, like the 30-plus minutes, and it's crazy. He and I had talked about doing the interview for this week and then that week, and then it kept getting pushed back, and I was on vacation. He was gone for a couple days. So when we finally locked down the date of when we were going to record it, it was like a month and a half later. But I was like, dude, it doesn't matter. You are priceless. You are timeless. It'll always be awesome to catch up and check in with him. So thank you for checking that out.
Absolutely. I mean, he's an Oakland A's legend. I mean, he means a lot to us. I mean, I believe in Stephen Vogt. And I'm looking forward to heckle him as a Seattle coach from the right field area. Now I can't wait to let him have it a little bit. It's going to be fun.
He said to come see him down in the bullpen area, and I joked around. It was like, so at an A's game, if there's only like 8,000 total people and 3,000 of them are sitting down the right field line behind the visitor bullpen, we'll know why they're all there, to see you. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he and I were talking a lot during the 49er season and everything else. We talked still often. Yeah. He's just a class act, a good dude. I'm just disappointed, though, he had Seattle Kraken season tickets. He's only been to 2 games. I mean, come on now. You have season tickets. You've got to go.
I feel like he felt very guilty about admitting that. He was trying to make a point about something else, but that caught my ear, too. Like, wait, you've got hockey season tickets? Good for him, though.
I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that. It's just like, man, I don't know how you... Must be nice to have that kind of money where he could eat the tickets. If I eat a Barracuda ticket, that's only $13 a seat, and I still feel guilty if I ever do that. So I can't do it.
I'd have to think that he's selling them or he's finding useful ways for those tickets.
True, I guarantee he gives them away to people.
There's not a lot of empty seats at Kraken games, are there? Like that has kind of seemed
no,
like
not at all.
You went up there, right?
That preseason game I saw when the A's were in Seattle. That place was jammed. That place was jam-packed even for an exhibition game. It was amazing.
Well,
awesome. That arena is incredible, and that vibe up there for a hockey game. It reminds me what happened when the San Jose Sharks first were here. It was a great vibe. I hope you get that back soon. It'd be very nice.
It's still their honeymoon period, though, right? Like Seattle, a couple years in the league. I mean, wouldn't it be crazy if they make – and they probably will make the playoffs this year. How long did it take them to get – but actually, in retrospect – it only took the Sharks 2 years. Well, their third year they made the playoffs.
Third season, yeah. I mean, after that second year, I'm amazed so many people actually still supported San Jose Sharks hockey. That was a rough one.
Would they lose 70 games that year?
I think they were 11-7. I think it was 11-71 or something. All I know is it made me fall in love with hockey. I loved Archer Zerbe. So there we go.
Yeah, it's good for them. It's good for hockey. It's good for that market. I'll never sit here and be like, oh, good for Las Vegas that they got to establish the way they did in the NHL. But quite honestly, if the Golden Knights were still looking for their first playoff appearance, I don't think that town would embrace them like they have. I think the combination of that shooting tragedy, right, that happened right before their first season started.
Yeah, absolutely.
That galvanized the town. They got behind the team. Like they needed something to rally behind. that team was a perfect situation for that. Not to mention their success, that environment of T-Mobile Arena. It's right off the Strip. But there were so many things that went right for the Golden Knights. I wonder how Las Vegas would support them if they were just a mediocre team all these years. 5 or 6 years in. So no.
I have a feeling we'd have a much emptier building. I have a feeling it'd be a lot emptier than it is now. And
no knock to Vegas, right? It's just like they have literally struck gold with that team and the situation and everything around it and their players and so good for Seattle, right? Like they're kind of experiencing not identical, but a similar situation that they can have early success.
I mean, I'm glad they had to actually struggle a little bit more their first season.
Yeah.
They weren't able to pick and choose as well as what they would have liked and got. They actually went for younger prospects to build around, which I give a lot of credit to. And you can see this team also gel right away for them. It's really fun to watch. I enjoy having NHL center ice, so I watch a lot of their games because they're a really entertaining team to watch. Good commentary, not as good as Randy Hahn, Brett Hedican, and Drew Remenda, of course. And we have the best pregame hosts in all of hockey, Brody Gasol.
Your check is in the mail, my friend. And the other thing too about just about the whole Seattle situation is two things I was going to mention. Didn't they beat the Sharks 2 out of 3 times last year?
Was 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. So they've had a couple teams' numbers already. I honestly, after the way that Las Vegas drafted and how they did it, I feel like to have 2 expansion teams in the same division was going to be a penalty for everybody else. If they were both going to be able to be built like Vegas built themselves. That would be terrible for, LA, Anaheim, obviously San Jose. Fortunately, like Seattle can be good, but they didn't have, instant success. They're not in the Stanley Cup final their very first year of existence. So,
and I'm glad Vegas lost theirs. Otherwise, we really would not hear the end of it from that fan base.
Could you imagine winning the Cup as the expansion team?
Well, I got so mad at their Twitter and that expansion year trying to say, we had a better record than this San Jose Sharks. He was like, you had so much more luxury than we did. We had to supplemental draft to try to even get players.
Yeah,
they were able to.
I know.
Yes, it was very frustrating. But one last thing before you, Brody.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at spring training at all? When are you going down?
I will be next week. So backstory is this. I rarely ever go down there for games. Our best opportunity for work and to do the conversations and interviews and stuff that we do is the period right before games happen. And so I think the first game is actually the night that Patty Marleau's jersey is getting retired. So I'll be back.
Unfortunately, I am missing Marleau's game to be at spring training.
Look at you.
Terrible.
Well, you had a tough choice. You had to be at game 1 of spring training or at number 12's retirement. So that's all right. Hey.
Are they going to make it a 12/14 jersey up in the rafters? I mean, he came in the league wearing 14.
What if they surprise everybody and put 14 up there and everybody's like, and here it is, the first jersey to be retired, and it's 14.
I think there'd be a lot of outrage, but I'm just saying you could always do a split jersey on that, but that would cause a lot of outrage, I think.
Only the OGs would know, Will. They'd be like, oh, no, I get it. I see what they did there. Most people would be like, oh, they made a mistake. And you'd be like, no, they didn't. I see what they did. No, it is 12, so I'll be back for that. But I am going down next week for interviews and such. So, yeah, and then we do like a media day photo shoot. We build this big backdrop. We shoot promos and all like the headshots for the players. So that's a really early and busy day. I forget which day it is next week, but yeah, I'll be down there.
I'll unfortunately miss you by a day or two then, but I'll hopefully see you at the tank tomorrow. And thank you for taking my call, Brody. And always appreciate you, my man. You mean so much to the Bay Area for actually caring about the A's and the Sharks like you do. I wish more people did that, but thank you so much for doing so.
Appreciate you, buddy. And I will see you tomorrow and keep the pipes fresh. Get some good sleep, all right?
I don't know what sleep is, but I'll do my best.
All right. Thanks, Will.
All right, Brody. Take it easy.
You got it, man. All right, let's go straight to the 805. Who's this?
Cody.
Hey, Cody. What's going on?
Good. How are you?
The 805, are you on the Central Coast somewhere?
No, I'm down near LA.
Oh, LA. Okay. All right.
Oaks.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
I was the one a couple weeks ago who made the Vegas joke when they lost on a penalty to the Sharks again.
Well played. Well played. So what's on your mind tonight?
How many Sharks do you think will get traded before the deadline, not on the deadline?
That's a very good question. You know, we played the odds. We played the numbers on our pregame show the other night, and I set the number at 5. 5 before the deadline. Now, that's already considering that Matt Nieto and Jacob Megna have been traded. And the way I clarified it, what 5 or how many opening night Sharks roster players will be traded by the deadline? So I think the over-under for me is kind of at around 5. I don't know. I would not be surprised if 2 more get traded. That would get us up to 4. I think right around 5 is the number that if it's more than that, I would start to be surprised. Does that make sense?
Which roster are you referring to, the Prague roster or the opening night U.S. roster?
Let's go with the Prague, only because there's a couple more players on it, but I think those 2 players were Oakland and Bordelot, right? But let's say the Prague roster.
Jeff Viel was also on that roster.
Okay, VL. Okay, so I mean, in reality, it doesn't necessarily matter if it was which one or which, but basically, let's say 5 opening night players. Timo could be one. James Reimer could be another one. Nico Sturm could be another one. There are others. Bonino. I mean, it was, I'll be honest, Nieto caught me by surprise. I didn't see Megna coming. I understand it. I didn't necessarily see it on the board. So I hate to sit here and speculate names, but I do see a lot of them out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that number is 5. So,
do you know what the compensation is if a team offers sheeted Meyer this summer?
Yes, I do.
Trading for him?
Yes, I do. In fact,
what is it?
I hate to be lazy here and tell you to go watch another video on my channel, but there's a video on my channel here called "What If the Sharks Don't Trade Timo?" and it has all of the different, how should I say this, plateaus, the financial plateaus. So, for example, Timo would require a qualifying offer of $10 million.
Right, $10 million.
And I think at $10 million, it's a first, a second, and a third round draft pick.
It might be multiple firsts.
Yeah, it might be 2. I think you're right. I have to go back and check. But you understand what I'm saying, right? It's along those lines. That's what the compensation would be.
So realistically, for the Sharks, the trade has to be at minimum that, because that's what they can get for him in the summer.
But the way that they would have to go about getting that would be so convoluted. Like, they would have to not offer Timo a qualifying offer, but then somebody else would have to, and it would have to be at that $10 million value. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hopefully.
It would take so many other things to fall in place to get that. But you make a good point. Why would you, as the Sharks, accept anything less, right? If that's kind of what the compensation would be that the league dictates, why would you aim your sights differently? That's fair point. I would think this. If another team can get so in tight with Timo, and the Sharks, if the Sharks do allow another team to talk to his agent and line up an extension for him, and let's say it's a team like New Jersey, maybe he really wants to be there. Maybe they're competitive for years to come. And New Jersey can sign him to the 7-year deal that he wants. Sharks are going to get a lot more in return than they would if he was a pure rental, So
absolutely.
I hope that's going to be the situation. And if this plays out a lot longer, I hope that's the reason why.
Yeah, and possibly even more for him than Eric because of the future possibilities with him because of his younger age.
Yeah, and it's different with Karlsson too, right? Like the fact that the Sharks would be retaining a certain amount of salary, and yeah, you're right, age is part of it. It's just Erik Karlsson is a much different puzzle piece than Timo is right now. Like Timo is plug and play for a lot of teams. Erik Karlsson's situation and how that would have to be structured and the contract, it just makes it a little bit more difficult.
He has to accept it. And he has to accept a trade anywhere. It doesn't
and
sound
he has that too in his contract, right? The no move clause. So
yeah, and it doesn't sound like he's really fast to want to leave San Jose, surprisingly.
I think he deserves the right to protect himself. Like, if he were to look at his situation and say, this is not good, and I'm not really happy with this, I'll say no thank you. But quite honestly, the teams that are going to want him and add him, and I don't know that he's going to sit there at this juncture and say, well, do I want to be in San Jose for a couple more years as they continue this rebuilding process, or do I want to go win games again, like right now? So I know what you're saying. I mean, it is. I don't think he's going to use that to make the situation difficult. I think he's only going to ever use that to protect himself. So.
No, I agree. And I remember he was asked a while ago, and he was like, my family just kind of settled down here, and we're enjoying it. So unless it's something really, really great, I'm not requesting a trade.
Yeah. But I think he knows that the team is actively pursuing it. They're trying to get it to happen with a competitive team, right? Because that's who's going to want him, and that's where they know he's going to want to go. So the writing's on the wall for everybody. So I would highly doubt he's presented with something that he'll ever say, no thanks, I'm not interested. I think everything's going to be done with his best intentions, and I think he'll probably end up saying okay to it. But
yeah, as long as it's a playoff situation.
Yeah. I can't wait to get all this sorted out. How about you? I mean,
I absolutely agree. I just want it to be over.
Yeah. Well, and I don't want to. I don't want to rush it, but I also don't want to do it wrong. I mean, you're the Sharks. You're lucky. You've got some chips here. You've got Timo doing well, playing well. You've got Carlson playing well. So imagine the alternative. If they were having rough seasons like everybody, you would have nobody, really to cash in on. So.
And the Sharks are not necessarily known for having huge trade deadlines in past years. So this could be one of the bigger ones trade-wise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have not been wholesale sellers, right? Like they are now. They were, for all those years, they were usually the buyer at the deadline. And they were never the big buyer, but, they'd always make a move or two at the very end to just really tidy things up. So obviously...
Nyquist.
Yeah, Gus Nyquist. I mean, you could go back to, and I know people will say this is so controversial, but even when they got Rafi Torres back in the day, or I'm trying to think, there were a couple, this was more like the early 2010s. A couple of defensemen they acquired.
For the early 2010s?
Yeah. Was it Ian White? No.
Maybe.
Anyway,
was Brendan Dillon a trade deadline, or was he free agent?
Brendan Dillon was traded for Jason Demers, I believe, from Dallas. And that happened
that deadline or
mid-season? That happened early in a season. That happened in like October or November. I want to say of 2013 or 14.
Wow, Dillon was a Shark a lot longer than I thought he was.
He was, yeah. He was around for quite some time.
Funny story.
Yeah.
I went to a Barracuda game. So I play hockey for the high school team here.
Oh, nice. What high school?
I play for a club high school team called Ventura County Poseidon.
Okay, cool.
So we had a game in Bakersfield, and that night after our game, the Barracuda were playing the Condors in Bakersfield.
Nice.
So my dad and I went to the game to watch the Barracuda, and starting on defense for the Condors was Jason Demers.
He's still going.
And of course, he had a goal and an assist, including the game-winning goal in that game.
Wow.
Because who wouldn't hump the Sharks as a former Shark?
By the way, for the record, it was November 21st of 2014. Brendan Dillon traded to the Sharks for Jason Demers. So there we go.
Yeah, that turned out to be a pretty good trade.
Yeah. Brendan Dillon was awesome teammate. Definitely, yeah. I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, he totally improved his game, but I think Brendan Dillon got better the longer he was a Shark. Like he was better. He helped out the team the more longer he was around him. So
he was huge for the playoff runs, especially 2019.
Absolutely.
The what if one where everyone got hurt in the playoffs.
I know that's always their thing at the end of seasons. Is that things kind of fall apart. Not so much, mostly health, and then it kind of crescendos from there. Hey, I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Oh, good. If I remember correctly, that final game against St. Louis, we had like no Carlson, no Pavelski, no Couture, no Hurdle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was.
Sending out the Barracuda to play a playoff game.
It was really fun. And you could honestly go back to all the years, 2010, 2011, conference final against Chicago, conference final against Vancouver. There were so many injuries. I think in 2011, like Ryan Clough had a dislocated shoulder that he was playing with. It's just unbelievable that these guys hide this stuff. And then when it ultimately comes out, you're like, how are you even doing this?
Exactly.
So,
it's like I couldn't even walk if I had that. You're playing a full game.
I know. It is a trip. I'm going to try and just do a couple more calls here before 10 o'clock, but I appreciate you calling in, and we'll do it again sometime.
Thank you. I appreciate you answering. Have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, phone line's open for just, I don't know, we'll do 10 more minutes. And then I'm like starting to lose it. I got to stay up late tomorrow night too for work. So I'm just conditioning myself at this point right now. Good evening. Who's this from the 510? Oh, got hung up on there. That's okay. I heard it in the background. Let's try one more caller. Somebody else was trying to get into at the very same time, so maybe we'll do that one. Watch, let me just show you again. Look at my new toy. Oh, yeah. Hands-free. We got the Stream Deck pedal. I can now change cameras without actually touching buttons. Maybe nobody will call. Joseph saying, I saw that you were at Topgolf. Did you see me there, or did you saw it on Instagram? That's right. I had not hit a golf ball in 5 years, I think. And I felt by the end of the night, maybe about 100 or so swings in, I was hitting them straight, finally getting some distance. I feel like it was the second beer that made the ball go straighter, but it started terribly. Slicing. That's all I was doing. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of change with the wrists, and it was going straight. Did Felix said he was trying to call in and getting voicemail. Whoops. Hang on a second, everybody. Having some issues here. All right, let's try this. Good evening from the 510. Who's this?
Hello?
Hey, who's this?
Oh, it is me, Felix. And 1 second.
Is that you, Felix?
Yes.
What's going on, buddy?
I mean, everything's great up until, well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, shall we? Why are there so many students lately at school?
I don't know, man. It's crazy that all I saw was that comment earlier about MSU, and before you even know what's going on, you can assume what's going on, and then when you're correct, you're like, I'm mad that I'm correct about that. You know?
Honestly, like seeing like just the history and like just so many like all the mass shootings that I've heard, and I don't mean to bring the whole news down, but like it's sickening, you know. And it's like, and I know like it wasn't even like that long ago, but I want to say a few months ago that the Sharks themselves even like posted like a video on like anti-gun violence day or whatever it was, and they were like trying to spread awareness of that, and then lo and behold, a couple months later, rinse, wash, repeat, another school shooting. And it's like, can it just stop? Like, at this point, you're just like exhausted. And it's just like, you know, from the Newtown, Connecticut shooting, the Columbine shooting from years ago, and then I think there was one in Florida too, I forgot what the school name was.
Yeah, Parkland, yeah.
Yeah, Parkland. But you know what I mean? Like it's one after another, and it's like it's like I'm at the loss of words. Like I don't even have any words to just describe just the empty pit in my stomach that I feel like when you hear like the number of times I see active shooter on my Twitter is already just unacceptable. Like, I mean, obviously, you know, when that news breaks, you know, news agencies have to report that, but it's like it's become an everyday, a damn near everyday occurrence, every month occurrence, and it's and obviously, like, for me, thankfully, I've never been a part of one of those, but it just goes to show, like, and not to get political at all on your podcast, but I feel like it's worth mentioning that this society has so many issues to address, and this is one of them, you know, and it's like, when is enough going to be enough? You know, and it's like, there's so many people, there are so many parents who are grieving loved ones, grieving, you know, for the lost family members from these shootings. And it's like, you know, how many more people have to lose a loved one before? And I know, I like, logically, like, we're a long way from, like, everyone, like, essentially getting along, and, like, you know, like, these shootings, like, not being near as frequent, but like, it's highly upsetting. But yeah.
Well, I don't want to cut you off. You're on a roll there, so I don't want to cut you off. But, you know, I think there's a couple things that just run across my mind, and really in no particular order, but you know, as a society, I say a society like our country, we have this problem. It feels like it's very unique to us. You know, other things in the world, like cancer, everybody around the world deals with it to a certain degree. Some a little bit more than others, but not like a lot more than others. And that's where we find ourselves on this issue, right? Like we have a way different set of stats than any other country in the world has with this.
Yeah, and right, and first, again, I hate to get political, but it's like and I don't really want to mention what those things are, but I'm sure you know that there are certain things politically that need to be changed in order for this to happen. I'm not saying that it's the end all be all, like it's gonna like help solve everything, but I mean, I guarantee, you know, I mean, if other countries can like be, you know, strict and like not like essentially not have a mass shooting for like a century or whatever, or decades, then why can't that be the same for us?
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're right. I mean, it seems like something that is not impossible to get to. We just can't seem to get there, can we? And to your point earlier about, you know, every message, every rally of this and that, but none of it seems to actually, it gets awareness up and it gets conversation to happen, but what tangibly happens to stop this again, right? Like, we can talk about this all day long. We can, we're not changing course on preventing any of this, and to a large degree, sometimes I don't know how you prevent somebody from losing it and doing something unthinkable. I don't know the situation tonight. I guess we always do seem to find out some backstory, some this, some that, some, you know. It's weird that it always has such a similar pattern every single time right now.
And here's the other thing, like, I mean, and I understand that the media has a job to do, but with like talking about the suspect, but why is it always like talking about the suspect and not paying near enough attention to the victim? Like, it's like we are, in a sense, and I think I heard the CNN or someone at CNN even talk about this with someone else, with a guest that they had, like, essentially the media even feeding into these quote unquote copycat incidents, you know, and it's like, that does kind of, it makes you think, right? It plays a role. And it's like, I mean, not only are you like putting more emphasis on the shooter, you're also like, you know, motivating
glorifying
other
glorifying it a little bit. Yeah,
and not like, you know.
Well, you know why?
More tribute.
I'll tell you why, because I think, and this is a fault of the media. I mean, there's no question about it. But it's also a fault of the media, but a fault because this is what the general public clicks on or craves or wants to know. Well, why did this happen?
Yeah.
You know, like give us some answers of how could this have happened? What caused this to happen? So it's almost like this. How many times is there a car accident on the other side of the freeway? But you're on the side where there's no accident, but it's slowed down. You know why? Because everybody's got to look over and take an assessment. Ooh, what happened over there? I got to take a look.
Right.
It's that looky-loo mentality. And, you know, like, for example, none of us are in the state of Michigan, at least you and I are not tonight. Some people maybe watching the stream are, but people from across the country, they want to know all the detail. Who did this? How did it happen? Most importantly, why did it happen? What led to this? And you're right. I think the media, you know, they get it. They get caught in that trap of making that the centerpiece instead of anything else.
Right. And I think like that, I mean, I get if they have to like talk about the shooter like in like a certain detail, but I mean like it's you genuinely don't want to like motivate copycat incidents like that. But I mean, But on a lighter note,
I appreciate. I know you wanted to get that off your chest, and unfortunately, it's if you and I were the only two people in the world, we might have it figured out, but we're not. So anyway,
unfortunately.
What else on your mind?
I mean, aside from like the stuff that I DM'd you about, you know, the web development stuff, which by the way is going pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah, I know what I'm going to be doing, so like I'm working towards it. So yeah, but I did at least want to before I go off head to bed as well. I did want to talk briefly about your thing on the possible Meyer trade. Like the thing is, like if you trade Meyer, you're going to be spending like years trying to find the next Timo Meyer. So like, you know. Because he's a very good player and he's a fan favorite obviously, and you know if you're gonna, I just feel like if you trade Meyer, then that I don't know that sends the right message, if you will. Like I don't know that like, because you're essentially who do you have aside from after Meyer? Hurdle and like first Carlson, right?
Eklund, Bordelot.
Right.
I see what you're saying. I recognize that, but I think the message, if you trade Timo Meyer, the message is we're not close to this right now. If we were close to where we want to be right now, you're right. Timo Meyer is part of our equation. But if we're close to where we want to be in 2 to maybe 3 years from now, where is Timo Meyer at that point? And could we have cashed in on his value in a prime situation, like a 40-goal season situation, and got something more for 2 or 3 years so that the Sharks can peak collectively instead of having him a little bit behind the curve? If that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, I guess I get what you're saying. I guess my thing is just like, why wouldn't you want to have him as a part of your future? Is like, I guess that's my question.
Well, I'll tell you this. Number one, financially, how did they make that even a possibility right now? They are tight on the cap. Right.
Sure.
And next year, it's only going to go up. I think $1 million more dollars next year. So to make it even happen for the future would require some other moves and some other sacrifices. I agree with you. Yeah, you're saying what you're saying, and this is a really good way to think about this. You're only going to trade him away to search for the next him.
Right.
But I think you're searching for him in the future. That's probably my answer. But that's a good point. I'm not discounting that at all. I think I'm trying to see around it for sure.
Right. I think, I mean, like, obviously I'm no like math expert or financial expert, but like, I mean, and I don't know how the Sharks would go around it, but I would think, I mean, at least personally for me, if they were to keep Meyer, who's going to command probably, I've heard like an 8x8 or 8x9, you know, they're gonna have to move a contract. Oh,
Yes.
I mean, and I think they're gonna. I think that's already on their minds. Like, you're gonna have someone else is gonna be traded at or before the deadline. We know that much. It's just a matter of who and for like what's the cost, right?
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So,
It's not. This is unique. You know, I typically hate speculating about trades and players, because it just we're messing with people's existences here. But for Timo, when you talk about it, he's only going to benefit whether he stays here or ultimately if he goes to a new team, he's going to be on an instant contender. He is going to get paid by them or somebody else. So he only has good things to get from this situation. And quite honestly, if the Sharks had it perfect, they'd hang on to it, but they don't have it perfect, and they're in a rough spot right now, and they need to, he's kind of the gift card that the team has, and so they need to cash in the gift card for value elsewhere.
I just hope that the front office does the right thing and doesn't like alienate the fan base somehow and cause even essentially make a move that'll essentially cause even more seats to be empty. Because I mean, the seats at the SCP Center are they're pretty empty some nights.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've done.
No, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah,
but that's not that. I don't. Do you think? I think the biggest thing behind that is just, well, number one, I actually think there's a multiple. There are multiple reasons, but I think one of the biggest things is just the team has lost their way competitively. I think that's that put the Sharks back in a situation where that going to a game in December, you're watching a team that will be in the playoffs. That used to be a guarantee year after year after year. And Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau, I think we kind of we got so accustomed to who they are, what they were, and what they did. Annually, that all of a sudden now when they're not there, we're like, wait, why is this not working right now? Why is this not drawing the same interest?
Right.
So,
and I think right now, like to your point, they are trying to find sort of a new identity, something that they can hang their head on, and just like say, okay, so this is the team that we really want to be moving forward, and let's stick with this game plan from now on. And I think that's going to be what makes this trade deadline and essentially this offseason so interesting, I think. And I feel like we've said this so many times, because every single offseason has been, a very curious situation for this team in particular. But I think, moving forward, I think this is going to be huge for the future.
I would say there's three things coming up. There's the trade deadline on March 3rd. There's the ping pong balls being pulled for the lottery, right? What spot will the Sharks get? And then there's the actual draft in late June. Who will they get? Where will they pick, and who will they get? And that one person alone is not going to be their entire future. But if it's one guy in particular, it's going to be a big part of it. But no matter what, it's going to be a huge addition, whoever they get 2 to 3 years down the road.
I will say this, whoever the Sharks get, I just hope they don't make the same mistake that Edmonton has and then not surrounded said person with good supporting players, see Connor McDavid.
That's why Edmonton does not deserve Erik Karlsson right now, despite all those rumors. I'm like, no, you don't just get to poach when the guy's on a 100-point season. No, you don't get to parachute in on that. You've had so many chances in early draft picks. You guys have bonked out on that so many times. You shouldn't get that opportunity, but here they are talking about it.
Right, and I know, and I've seen that financially, it just doesn't make sense for like them or the Sharks. Because first of all, I don't think the Sharks want to essentially retain however much salary that they have to retain, and second of all, I'm not even sure that the salary will work for the Oilers either. So
he's at such a rate of at the $10 million range that it's like even if you retain by what point of the season are we, and you retain a certain amount, it's still a large amount. Like it's still multiple millions of dollars that a team needs to have open to be able to accept him right now. So the Sharks have what, like $50,000 under the cap at some. I haven't checked it lately.
Something,
but it
sounds about right.
It may have changed a little bit, may have improved a little bit, but it's a tight situation for them. So There's a lot of teams that just can't even afford it, even though they'd like to do it, even if there is money retained, So
right. So I mean, that's why, as much as I don't want to see Meyer traded, I think that's more likely than a Carlson trade.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey man, I appreciate the call, and I might do one more, and then I'm off to bed.
Yep. No, I gotta head to bed.
I'm running out of gas, man.
Yeah. No, but great talking to you as always, and hopefully we'll chat some more on Twitter sometime. So,
yeah, man. You got it. Felix, be well, buddy.
You too. Bye.
All right. Have a good night, Felix. All right. Let's do one more phone call. Who's that lucky person going to be? Who is the final caller? Maybe it's nobody. Maybe everybody went to bed. Definitely looking at the live stream here that we were peaking for a while. But then it got late. Too late. Well, maybe nobody else is going to call. Maybe I'll just dive through the live chat here for a little bit. Dalton wants to know, where is the NBC setup at SAP Center? It's at is it called the Hop Valley Bar? It's right above the south entrance. Like south entrance where you walk in, it's like right above that, right by the escalators. Okay, we do have our final call here. Let me put that camera on for just a second. Good evening from the 510. Who's this?
Hey, this is Big Walt from Rodale, California.
Big Walt, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, man, I haven't been following you lately, but what's going on with the A's? Why are they going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper? What's going on?
I don't know that they're going progressively. You're just saying spending less on team salary?
No, I'm talking about you just traded Puck, who was the suspect in the bullpen, for a guy that hits 154.
Well, I would say Puck and J.J. Bleday are similar in that both of them were first-round draft picks, and both of them had a ton of promise, and were supposed to be the next big thing for Miami and Oakland, respectively. And neither of them really kind of panned out maybe as hoped, as desired, as expected. And so I said this before, people wondering, like, what's the trade all about? Because you're right, it is kind of unique, right? Did you see that one coming? I didn't see it coming necessarily.
Well, what us fans are doing is that I have to unfortunately tie the channel down and try not to watch the MLB because they talk about every team but one.
Okay. Well, you and I can definitely agree on that, man. They
talk about, hey, in the month of April, these are all the teams. Guess what team they don't mention?
They did an AL West preview with all the broadcasters of different teams. How many teams are in the AL West? Do you know?
8, 9, 16.
Well, there's five, right? Seattle, Oakland.
Okay.
The Angels, Texas, and the two Texas teams. But they only covered, I kid you not, they covered 4 teams in the division. They only had 4 broadcasters on.
Oh, well, they always, every year. Listen, every year, they always highlight between 8 and 10 teams, and that's kind of, who they roll with. I get that. But I'm talking about us as fans. I mean, I've been waiting now. I was at the last FanFest rally, and that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And nothing that you can say to me, Brody, is going to help my decision on what I'm going to do in the summer. Because I ain't going over there.
Yeah, no, I'm not here to try and, change your mind, and I get it, man.
Well, I want you to.
Oh. Well, you just said I can't do it, and then you said you want me to.
No. Listen, I said there's nothing that the major league media can tell me.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is you need. I mean, like my friend told me that they're selling the tickets at the Costco again. I don't shop at Costco, but what I'm saying is this is so bad with the A's right now. Why don't they just don't play in Oakland and play in Berkeley or play in a stadium that's close, that's not in Oakland, because why don't they just do like the Warriors used to do in the 60s, play around the Bay Area? That's how old I am.
I was about to say, do you remember those days firsthand? Because if you are,
yes.
OG status just came right upon you right there, man.
Brody, it's bad. Let me put it this way. I'm a closet Red Sox fan, right? Because when the A's used to play the Red Sox and the Yankees in the summer in June, and the A's used to get waxed, this is right after the 75 season, right? Okay, so I'm a Red Sox fan. If you go to MLB and go to the Red Sox, team shop, it's almost 10 pages long. You go to the Oakland A's team shop, it's 1 page.
Yeah.
And it's real bad because it's only Ricky Henderson. Okay?
Hasn't played. I mean, the field is named after him, but he hasn't played for the team in decades.
Else. Brody, it's embarrassing. I can pull out. I mean, you try to tell me that the A's don't have a pullover sweat shirt or a warm-up jersey, batting practice jerseys, or batting practice, where it says A's or Oakland or either one of the three.
Let me spin it forward, and let me also at the same time spin it in reverse, because I think I know what I need to say, and I think I know what you need to hear. Is there something that could make you believe that the A's can get back to the era that was the late 80s? Is there something that this team could do? Whether it's the new ballpark, whether it's a certain group of players that come up, do you think they're capable of winning you over again? Do you think this whole situation is capable of winning you over again?
Well, number one, they can hire me. You can pay me about $80,000. We can go back to the paper when you used to be able to go to believe it or not, the Oakland Tribune.
Yeah.
And they would have the upper reserve tickets for $1. They could go back to the Dollar Dog days. They could go to the root beer float games.
Right.
Most importantly, they could go to the YMCA and give the tickets away.
So it sounds.
They're not even doing that. I mean, I'm telling you, it's embarrassing now. I mean, I would like to see you talk more about the A's. I mean, call the Golden State Warriors. Call what's his name? He wanted to buy the A's a few years ago. What's going on there?
Well, I don't think they're for sale.
Wait a minute.
But I don't know. I can't speak for somebody else, but I think that's the situation.
Well, what's his name?
Joe Lacob.
Yeah. I
know he's talked about it, but that's like he's not the one selling. He's the one that would be interested in buying or buying into, and I don't know that that's an opportunity for him. He's talked about
at this point, and I'm going back to 1968. There's nothing that I can see that the Oakland A's are doing, but even making any of these baseball, remember the Cleveland Indians? I mean, this is embarrassing, and to the point that the tickets are so expensive.
So let me ask you this: it sounds to me like there's a couple things that I think would win people over again. One of them is just flat out winning, right? Like that seems to cure a lot of things. But that's hard to do. It involves the right, timing and group players. It seems to me the biggest thing that you want to see is bigger crowds and more opportunity and availability for tickets to make those crowds happen. Is that kind of what I'm feeling here?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I can remember Billy Ball when we were just hoping and praying and let's go Oakland for one run, okay? I've been through that, okay? But I'm talking
all you needed was one run.
Yeah, you don't remember those days?
No, I know. I've just liked the way you said
it. For one run.
Yeah, I like
one run.
Yeah.
We would do everything we can for one run. The point is, Brody, is that the imagination of this organization. First of all, let's not make Billy Beane make another trade, okay? Because he always trades trash for trash. The A's already are kind of embarrassing, but you're making trades that looks like there's no promise. There's no promise. There's no hope. I can't. I mean, me and my friend were just talking about it at work a little while ago. I don't think there's 10 players on the Oakland A's right now that has no more than 5 years of major league experience, and then you sign those cheating Astros shortstop to a whole bunch load of money. I mean, come on.
Well, let me ask you this. When the A's in 2018 and 19 were winning 97 games each season. Now, granted, they only got to the wild card games. They lost those. That was really frustrating.
That was because of Bob Melvin.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm going to go there. Hey,
come on, that's my dude right there. Come on now.
Hey, look, he did it again. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Listen, you've been watching baseball for a while.
Yeah.
I've been watching baseball longer than you.
Yes, you have.
The issue is that there's no gimmicks in sports. Gimmicks work throughout the season and beginning, and then when it gets right down to pure baseball, you can tell the weaknesses and the pluses in the managers. Everybody wanted to blame Dusty for the Giants, and it wasn't all Dusty's fault. You know, you got some people who don't have a bag of courage, and they seem to wilter under the bright lights of the fall. But the issue is the A's always seem that when Billy Ball is in play, that they always make, like I was in the hospital, I was in a bad car accident, and when they traded Cespedes, I almost had a heart attack for a guy who can't throw the ball to first base, and I knew that.
John Lester, man. Oh.
I mean, the issue is...
Hey, do you remember in the wild card game of 2014, to your point, do you remember the Royals stole 8 bases that game?
Yes. I hit my friend in the head with a frying pan. I was so mad.
Jeez.
I was so mad, and it wasn't even necessary.
Oh, jeez.
But what I'm telling you is, this is simple. Listen, $80,000 is not a lot of money. You can pay me, and I can do what, believe it or not, what Stanley Barrera, a.k.a. Hammer, I can do what he does. And I bet you I can get better results because you're not even looking. The A's, I mean, like they're not looking and getting Latin players. Come on, you're not even trying.
I think
you got a catcher. I mean, what's his name last year? But he was done 3 years then.
Sean Murphy?
No. Stephen Vogt.
Oh, yeah, Stephen Vogt. Well,
come on, man.
That was a different situation.
Way. I work graveyard. I wake up at around 9:30. I'm in the bathroom doing my business when I usually turn on and you and Stewart, and Stu knows you're not even trying. Why is Stu on TV where he should be with the organization trying to bring up players?
I'm sorry. I can't continue picturing you in the bathroom watching us now. You know, I mean, I'll never be able to do a show again knowing that you might be watching in the bathroom.
Listen, I'm not too far from you. Listen, I've seen that Coliseum when it was nothing. Let me put it this way. I'm so old. I was chased out of there with Carl Yastrzemski doing batting practice one time. You used to be able to walk into center field.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and Red Sox were taking batting practice, and one of the balls landed from the ivy. Jim Rice was taking batting practice, and it landed in that little area, you know, where they used to bring the batting practice thing. And me and my friends walked in there, and I picked up the ball, and Carl Yastrzemski literally chased me all the way to 66th Avenue. to drop the ball. But I did, by the way. But The issue was there was no Bart at the time. I mean, come on. I mean, this is to the point where when you're losing 100 games, either you're not trying. I mean, if the A's started to do the Astros cheating, banging on garbage cans and flickering lights on certain pitchers, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying until you get caught. That's Jim Rome. But the issue is, this is embarrassing. I mean, we were looking up and down the roster. I can't see no prospects. And then that guy they got, the center fielder, the Latin player for center fielder.
Christian Pache?
Okay, man, the dude can't hit a curveball, period. I'm way over here. I'm way in Rodale, and I can pitch to him. A fastball up and in, a slider outside. He's out of there in 3 pitches. You don't need a clock on him.
You got the sequence already and everything.
Again, I mean, like, if the tickets were $5, you ain't making nothing on the front end. You're going to make it up on the back end. You lower the price. Look, the promotion should be for the whole month of April. The Oakland A's from Kansas City to Oakland, the prices it was. Not a one promotional thing, the whole month.
All right.
I still have the banner, Brody, of when the A's had 3 million in attendance.
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah. Oh, that wasn't. It was in my lifetime. I remember that. Hey,
not hard.
Let me ask you a couple questions here, and let me jump around different topics. Number one, because I'm still on. You name dropped a Stanley Burrell here on the live stream. So,
yes.
What's Hammer's best song? Well, what's Hammer's best work?
There's several, and like hype music, DJ. Go to the next question. I'll go back to that.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, and let's just close it off like this. What's the best thing that Hammer brought to the table for you? Was it the music? Was it the wardrobe? Was it the dancing? What was it?
I went to junior high school with him. Listen, if you just sit down, Brody, and look at the A's when Stanley was there.
Yeah.
One of the things that he brought was remember the white jerseys they used to wear on Sundays?
Yeah, wedding gown white.
Bring it back.
Well, they do. They wear white.
No, not that goofy thing they wearing now.
You want to see the polyester?
Not that goofy thing
the V-neck
they're wearing now. And the Warriors should be embarrassed with that rose flower thing they're wearing.
Now that I believe. I forget the exact. There is a good reason behind that. There is a good.
Oh, they need to lose it.
Okay.
I don't want to lose your audience. What I really want to say.
All right.
But just put the black that they wore last year. They don't need to be putting no flowers and other crap on there.
Well, how about this? How about the court? How about the Warriors court? I watched the game the other night. It hurt my eyes to watch the highlights because the court's gray and my eyes are like,
Yeah, they doing too much.
Too much.
Sometimes you need to stick to the principles.
Trying too hard. Yes.
Yeah, just stick to the principle.
Truth.
Put a pinstripe on the pants, okay? That's what they used to do. Put the pinstripe on the pants, lower the ticket price, lower the food price, have a promotion. Even though now, if you watch sports, you know you're bad when you're promoting shooting T-shirts into the crowd.
Yeah.
A's should be all on top of that. They should be all over that. And my wife one time went to the game last year, and I think the A's announced 10,000, wherever it was. She said everybody was in one spot.
Yeah, might be the case.
So listen, I want to talk to you more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you start thinking 9:30, start thinking of me, and I can help because I used to do retail. I used to work for Goodyear. I was the number one salesman. This ain't hard to sell, but why are the A's playing the Red Sox and 99% of the fans are Red Sox fans? Well, I mean, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, that whole thing though, that Red Sox, Yankees, that's always been that way. You get the big out of town crowd.
Saying is, it's embarrassing. And then the last time I went to the A's game, they took away. Remember how they used to have the other teams, concession stands.
They used to have like other teams' gear. Are you saying?
Yeah,
really?
They used to have the hats. My friend, one of my best friends, his idol died, Sal Bando. We were there for the Sal Bando thing, and we had to wait in a long line. We just gave up because we couldn't believe how long it took to get Sal to come down. But the bottom line is the A's can sell what they had. They need to get rid of them goofy uniforms. Go back to the basics, green and yellow, and then the white on Sundays. Keep it simple. Put more merchandise out there, and sell the product for what it is. You said they're a minor league team. Okay, so what? Okay, they're minor leagues. But you're going to tell me you're going to do a beer for $15? Really?
I think what I hear you saying is let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real and keep it simple.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
but please spare me these young players, and you got scrubs that you can pick up that would do better. I mean, you're not even trying. I mean, 154, really? 154.
Let me just say this: last year, an entire year of transition. Right? You know who the old team was. They all got traded away within about a week. And I think what you saw last year was a baseball team that was like literally the boat hitting the bottom of the beach. They bottomed out. But I do think the group you're going to see this upcoming year, I mean, number one, I'd be shocked. I'll say it right now. I'll say it on any live stream. Shocked if they lose 100 games again.
Man. You know what? What you just did, Brody?
Yeah.
Now you done turned up a little bit. I will harass you.
If they do?
Every week. Oh, no way. No way.
Wait, what do you...
Why are you getting pitchers that other teams don't want? And then you're going to go to Oakland with the foul ball line? Come on.
I mean,
put it this way. How come the A's are not in the top 5 in that draft?
Well, that was BS, right? They should have been. What did they get? The 7th pick? Is that where they? Yeah. And statistically, they should have been 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, something in there. Yeah.
Look, and as far as Bob Melvin, you need to call Bob Melvin tomorrow. Tell him to grab the book on Billy Ball, and if he just tries to have the Padres do basics, they will do better because he couldn't do it in Oakland.
Man, why you got to go after Bowmel like that?
Hey, man, I liked him. There's 2 things you got to keep in mind what Bob Melvin really is. He's a San Francisco Giant, okay?
Oh!
So in that time, they did not win. They did not win. He's old school. I get it. Did you watch him during the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know I'm very familiar with the NLCS too. I watched that.
The same thing. He's just a better name. I get it. The Padres are going to run out of patience with him in 3 years if he does that crap again. Tell him to play small ball sometimes.
How do you play small ball with Manny Machado, Tatis Jr., Xander Bogaerts as your shortstop, Cronenworth? That team is loaded. What do you mean? You want to play small ball with those guys?
Now grant you, he hurt himself. Listen, baseball is a simple game. These guys try to do extra stuff. Now, Brody, how many times you watched the game and a guy hit a double in the gap? You know he can go for 3. They don't even try.
Well,
they pull up.
I'll tell you what I don't see. I see a guy hit a double, and then I see him get stranded at second. Because there's not good enough hitting to at least ground out to the right side of the infield, hit a fly ball to the right, get him to third base with 1 out. Because then a fly ball to the outfield is going to score you a run.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's not a hard game. You shouldn't have to wait until the playoffs where there's only very few pitches outside. The balls are always around the strike zone. But in the meantime, you know, here's a guy with 3 guys on one side of the infield. You can't. I mean, are you telling me at practice you don't know how to slice the ball? You don't know how to hit the ball to the opposite direction?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Well, you know, they're getting rid of the shift now.
I mean, this is not a hard game, dude. You're making a simple game very difficult.
See, that's where you got it right there. It's only as hard of a game as you're making it.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, a runner on second, you're a light hitting 220 batting team. You got the first pitch is almost thrown over his head. He swings at it. I mean, I don't know if the guys are clapping for him to do better, or they're reminding him you need to hit the ball over here. They're not doing that.
They're reminding him. That's good. That's awesome.
And wait a minute. And then on top of that, what makes matters worse, this is the part that really chaps me, is that they don't know how to play the warning track.
You just like time it out on a fly ball out there?
Yeah, you know, I mean, think about it. When the A's looked at somewhat decent, I think in June, I think I woke up and turned the game on. The ball was hit into that, you know, whatever you call it, in the outfield. As soon as the outfielder felt the warning track, he stopped.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, watching some of the old Griffey catches and even like when Bo Jackson made that catch back in the day, I don't know if baseball has as many of those catches anymore. Maybe there's too high of fences, or maybe there's just not the same athletes.
I'm glad my mind is coming back to me.
All right.
Listen, when they get to the Coliseum, tell them to paint the damn stadium. All right?
Paint which part of it?
The outfield. I mean, like, nobody wants to go there. At least make it your home. And then, most importantly, make the wall where the line is a home run.
Yeah.
Where's the line, the yellow line, where it doesn't look like one whole color? You know where the camera is?
Yeah.
The camera should be a different color because it's over the fence.
Oh, you're saying like on the top of the fence.
Mark it.
Okay.
And paint the stadium.
Okay.
I mean, if you go to the video games, they paint the stadium. They should paint the stadium.
I feel like we got to get you this job. You mentioned it. You already stated your price, which I think you undersold yourself. You no.
I didn't
yourself.
undersell. Oh no, that had nothing to do with ticket sales.
No, I'm saying like you could bump up your $80,000 price a little bit more. I think you could go for 95. You know what I'm saying?
No, but see, I want to get it on the back end.
Okay, all right.
It's on the back. Hey, you don't want to oversell. I got no major league experience other than what I see.
Okay, I see. You'll earn it. Okay.
You steal a little bit from everybody.
All right.
And I'm just telling you, they should have that stadium looking like looking like a baseball stadium. They can do it. Look, if they can make the Mona Lisa look good, come on.
Somebody here on the live chat on YouTube says, I would pay to sit next to this man at an A's game. You like that? You like that compliment?
Yeah, but I have horror stories. I can give you a quick one.
Oh, I don't. Come on. I'm saying somebody's complimenting you here. I want to
I appreciate
pass that along.
Here's the thing.
Somebody else says, hire this man to the front office, they said.
Well, I got to work my way. I got to do the apprenticeship. But the issue is, I understand. I'm over 60, okay?
All right.
But I'm in good shape. But listen,
all right.
It's real simple. Baseball is simple. But here's the thing. They scared the fans where they don't want to go, okay? And I also remember when you was getting on the Raiders last year about the fan attendance. Well, when you still got Derek Carr as your quarterback, and now everybody's feeling sorry for Derek Carr, come on. It's too much. Look, we got soft as Americans. We're getting soft in all sports. The fact that you got a team that's got a history that is technically, until the Giants won those championships, better than the Giants.
Yeah.
And you don't celebrate them, and you only do it one day out the year. If Reggie doesn't want to be a member of the A's anymore, then pull his goddamn number 9 off and put Vita Blue or somebody else.
All right.
But you're not even trying. You can make that thing a whole lot better. Don't have another game and tarp up the third deck and put all Gene Tennis should be on there. Joe Rudy, especially Joe Rudy, should be on there. Tarp that thing, make it to a cozy 15,000, and everybody's liquored up based on the price of the beer, and it would be a Let's Go Oakland in a different mindset. Some people would go just to listen to the DJ.
Yeah.
I can do that too.
Oh, on the wheels. You're on the Wheels of Steel?
Listen, you can put on 1990 music and you can just stay there. You ain't got to do all that other crap. Hey, wait a minute. You have the lights flicker when it comes in. I mean, you could put in fake. If you remember in the early 70s, you could put fireworks up with a home run.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Do something.
All right. Hey, you know what? I don't want to cut you off. You're on a roll. You've been great, but I got to go to bed.
Okay, go to bed, man. I'm going to work. I'll see you later, man. I will call again, bro.
You please do. And if I ever see you out at the Coliseum, come say hi, all right? Introduce yourself.
Well, it's hard because y'all done made it into, I mean, I used to know the way around. I used to buy a ticket and go to the bar and just sit at the bar.
Okay. At the Treehouse?
No. I haven't been since they did that thing.
Oh, okay.
Talk about the original, what is it, the West Side Club?
West Side Club, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you do make it out there, make it a point to say hi, all right?
Okay, well, we'll call again and I'll get the information.
All right. I appreciate it.
Brody.
Have a good night.
Good one, man.
All right.
All right.
I'm closing the phone lines down. We are done with the live streaming for tonight. I just ran out of gas. I hit a wall. Wow. I've been streaming for 2 hours plus. Thanks to everybody for being here. Take a quick look at the live chat. Take this man to a game. All right. Film it too. All right. I am going to bed. I'm pooped. Oh, I forgot to. There we go. Look at that. I'm still so mesmerized that I now have this new toy where I can switch cameras without touching anything. Okay. The broadcast has concluded, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. I'll be at SAP Center tomorrow. Sharks and Sidney Crosby. It's a rare occasion you get to play Ovi last game and Sidney Crosby the next game. But that's it. Sharks won 3 of 4. Let's see what they do against Pittsburgh tomorrow night. All right, everybody, be safe. Check out some of the other stuff I've got here on the channel. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to this channel before you leave. And I'll see you next time, all right? Later.